Hello, friends. Today's question of the day: what does it mean to be born again? It's kind of part of the Christian culture, Christianese. Are you a born again believer? But where does that come from and what does it mean? And for the answer, we're going to look at John chapter 1, the disciple John's introduction to this Jesus and telling us who he is, how he's come into the world that he created, and the world mostly rejected him. But for those who didn't, here's what happens in John chapter 1, verses 12 and 13. But to all who did receive him, who believed in his name, he, Jesus, gave the right to become children of God, who were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. So that's where we get this concept of being born again. It actually starts in the Old Testament. We hear things about it in Ezekiel and other parts of the Old Testament, but this is where it sort of crystallizes. And John says, this is what happens to those in the world who trust in Jesus. God doesn't just give them a gold star. No, he actually gives them new birth, a new birth in the Spirit, so they can be in a right relationship with God. And John's clear. They're not born of blood. So in other words, it's not based on who their ancestors were or what tribe or nation they're from, nor are they born from will of the flesh or the will of the man. So it's not based on what they did or what they wanted or if their hearts started out more pure than somebody else's. No, because all of our hearts start out opposed to God. Where does it come from? But of God, it says at the end of verse 13. It's all the work of God. God decides who he's going to save, and he gives them new birth, all based on his grace and his mercy. So when we talk about being born again, it isn't because we did something right. It wasn't because we went through the right ceremony, or we said the right words, or we went to the right church, or we sang the right hymns, or we understood the right things, or we could pass the right test, or we acted good enough. No, none of it. What being born again means is that God loved and showed mercy and grace to us and gave us new life in his Son Jesus. That's what it means to be born again. I hope today's been a blessing.